Today's episode of the More You Know podcast is brought to you by CrowdQuestion, a brand new social communication platform focused on connecting crowds to bring everyone closer to their community, as well as enhancing any occasion. Rather than being a social media platform focused on content and advertising, they're focused on communication and connection. Learn more about the platform and download the app free at crowdquestion.com. Today's episode of the More You Know podcast features Seth Eliot Santoro, who's a business coach, spiritual coach, author, and speaker, as well as Nichole Kane, who's a business consultant and host of the Unashamed Faith Podcast. And lastly, Erica Risberg, who's a cultural heritage consultant, researcher, and host of the All Things in the Name of Love podcast. I asked each of them how someone can better manage negative self-talk. Enjoy the episode.
I'm just trying to make it all make sense.
The
More
You
Know
Podcast.
I believe that awareness is the key to managing our own negative self-talk. I believe that the more aware we are, the more we can stop the negative talk as soon as possible. I mean, like, we're all human, right? So we all have negative self-talk, but we have to remember that, or we get to remember that what we think we are, right? And what we think we energize in some way and actualize in some way. So I feel that when the negativity starts, you have to recognize it right away. And I think, and again, that comes from years and years of practice. I would say meditate, I would say do yoga, I would say all this stuff, but really it's about doing the work to become as aware as we possibly can of our feelings, of our emotions, and our talking to ourselves. And again, we all think it, right? We all think that stuff from time to time. It's about catching ourselves and then changing and transitioning that talk into something more positive, or being grateful for something that we might want in our lives.
Ooh, and this next one is great because we just talked about this on the podcast. How can someone better manage negative self-talk? First of all, awareness. You guys, so no matter what, it's going to happen. We all have bad days. So I think that's one of the biggest things, is that you've got to give yourself a little bit of grace, that you've got to understand that that is a part of life. It is going to happen, but you've got to have the awareness of knowing that you're doing it. So I think at that point, when those types of words start to come out of your mouth, I'm not good enough, I'm not smart enough, I can't close this deal, I'm not qualified for this client, I'm not qualified for this deal, I'm not qualified to start a podcast, I'm not qualified to coach people or to lead people, the first thing that I do is literally say cancel. So your brain on the scientific side remembers that we're canceling out what you just spoke, because your words have weight. So whether those words are speaking life over you or they're speaking death being negative self-talk, being bad things, horrific things, that makes a difference. That actually plays into your future. That is prophetic. That is declaring things over your life. So really having that thought process and knowing that when you speak those words, by managing them, going, I want to speak healthy things over my life. I want to speak good things over my life, positive things over my life, so that I know what I'm professing into my future. I know what I'm claiming. I know what I want that is out there. So having that awareness, the moment that you do it, say cancel, 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 cancel. Go in right away and recreate that with a positive thought. So instead of saying, I'm not good enough, go, I have accomplished X, Y, and Z. I have worked with these clients. This is my resume. I am capable of anything. I literally wrote this morning, I'm like, I am victorious. I have millions of dollars. I help millions of people. I change lives. I am here to impact people, right? So I actively cancel out the negative things so that I don't even allow those to come in when they try to. So capture it. I love to write it down. It makes it, for me, it's powerful to write it down, to visually see what I'm writing about myself in such a positive way. So I love that.
Well, that's a process of awareness. So when you first catch yourself when you're like, oh, there's no way I could do that. Start paying attention to when you get into that negative self-talk, because it's something that's in your subconscious, it's something within your subconscious, and you have to teach yourself to listen for it. So that when you start hearing that negative self-talk, you can actually pause and check in and say, okay, is this me or is this something that I've learned? And then you can say to the negative self-talk, thank you so much for telling me you were there. I no longer need you. We're going to try this path and go forward from there.
I'm just trying to make it all make sense.
The More You Know Podcast.